Howdy, guys. It's me and Jenna with a special guest. Yeah, it looks like Coda made his long-awaited podcast debut, and he had a lot to say about fiscal conservatism, so...
Do it, Coda.
yeah. He wanted to provide an antagonistic view to some of the viewpoints I had been making, and I thought it was going to make for great conversation. I'm kidding.
I think he said enough with his words.
Yeah, he said...
Okay.
That's all we need to know.
Thanks,
okay.
Coda.
So
thanks for your appearance.
Yeah,
okay, I'm gonna let you go. Live your best
Don't
life
start
now.
barking. If you do, you'll get no dinner tonight. Alright, so we're here obviously with another episode of John and Jenna's Secret Podcast. You did the thing, man. I'm about to put you in the cage. Here, take it away, friend.
Oh my gosh, Coda, why did you do that to yourself? So this episode is going to be about how perception and reality connects, and my question is, how does our own perception of other people's actions lead to our ideas and outcomes and our thoughts based on that?
Right. And
how does that relate to other people around us? Because it's clear that we all perceive reality differently and have different thoughts and ideas going on at the same time.
And the degree of complexity, the reasonings behind each person is so specific that it's difficult to truly understand, without having a conversation with them, speaking.
Yeah, so that's what we wanted to talk about today. We wanted to talk about more specifically how that relates to the political realm and how we can see ideas or policies and ideas that are happening and how we may perceive them differently, how we may back them, how we may, just have different thoughts about them than others around us.
Yeah, and we spoke about that in the past. We talked about political tribalism. At the end of the last episode, we talked about how it's important to empathize with others, not because you're just everything's happy-go-lucky, smiles on your face, everybody's good, but you just might truly not understand how another person's thinking. So when you think that's a Trump voter or that's a Kamala voter, if you connect with them and see these are the reasons, you might realize maybe they weren't informed on this issue. They didn't even know this was against their own interests, And
that's where it comes down to, we need to have
they're genuine people.
Right. And there are genuine people on both sides who really just don't know anything other than key points that may align with their values and not really understanding what people are fighting for.
And that's why I think information is so important. Information, being educated, having an understanding of the United States and its history, and having also an understanding of the current what's going on, the current political system.
And how that connects to prior history, and also just going beyond what we're taught in history class, because the history standards are not necessarily up to
and then
par.
You have people literally blatantly saying, I just want to get rid of the Department of Education. I don't think people need to be informed about anything at all. Alright, well, luckily we have the internet, so you have people like Jenna that I just met you and you, were already informed because you just knew you were smart and you figured things out. But, a lot of people don't, and they fall into tribalism, and it gets into, a very difficult psychology to unpack.
I mean, it definitely is hard to unpack, especially when people, I wouldn't even say people who aren't a part of the two-party system, but people who are informed get an understanding of what's going on and the reality of the situation. And it's really hard to say reality of the situation because everyone has their own kind of reality.
It's insane. It's getting to some of the things we're going to talk about, what Trump is actually doing now that he has power. The people he's putting into his administration, if you actually look at their backgrounds and it was outside of Trump entirely, you would be like, this person is insane.
Even conservatives are very upset with the
about
picks
it.
that
a lot
he's
of
making.
Conservatives on Twitter that were for Trump, destroy the system. Upset. They're well, you're appointing the system and random celebrities. What is going on here? He appointed Matt Gaetz to be the Attorney General. Even Republicans were being that guy's a diddler. And there was a sex trafficking bill, and it was every single member of Congress voted for it to, like, help sex trafficking victims or whatnot, except for Matt Gaetz, your prospective new attorney general. I mean, what reality are we living in?
Prospect.
Yeah. Luckily, he's not going to be there.
He did drop out of the race because...
No, he said he didn't want to be a distraction for Trump because Trump's going to make America great again by appointing people like him. It's really insanity what we're witnessing here. It really is. It really is.
One more thing about Matt Gaetz that I was going to say is that I don't know if you heard about the news story that was coming out about him.
No. What? About something that, like, was bad about him on top of the pile of things that were bad about him?
So, essentially, yes. The day that he dropped out, there was a news story that was airing about him where a woman stepped forward and went to the news with evidence. At the time that they had 2 sexual encounters, she was 17. So she stepped forward.
That is about right for Matt Gaetz.
She stepped forward with the information. The news company, I don't recall the name off the top of my head, but they reached out to him for comment, and they said that the story was airing at 12:30, or that was the last time they were accepting comments, something like that.
Yeah.
That it was airing at 12:30 on the day he dropped out. And then that same day at 12:24, he dropped out of the race to not be a distraction. Yes.
Dude, right at the time?
Yes, right before, like just before, so he could not be associated. Yeah.
Yo, the level of corruption is so blatant, man. That's hilarious. I didn't know that. I did not know that. That's a perfect segue because we talk about political tribalism and what
how it impacts the daily life.
What it does to us and what it makes us feel. And there are people, like, defending that sick man. Like, that dude is not a good dude. Any party. If he was a Democrat, if he was the leader of the progressive party that just wants money out of politics that I followed, if that party existed, I would still be like, that dude is not like a good dude.
He's got issues.
But tribalism makes it so we just are just like, no, Matt Gaetz, own the libs.
Yeah.
To own a team when these are objectively bad things that he did. It's corruption.
Right, and it's the same thing with Trump having 34 felonies and
34
also being a rapist.
Felonies. And ironically enough, he voted in Florida for himself in the presidential race. And it's funny because they just recently passed a law in Florida in like 2018-ish that felons could even vote. And that's how he was able to vote. And the people that support him, like the real right wing, were super against the law passing. And it was just a great, beautiful metaphor about how corrupt and how nothing really matters. Like,
see, and that's where it comes back to I don't know. I said a means to an end last time and an end to a mean, but I also think it comes back to our cognitive dissonance and our willingness to kind of brush things to the side if we're kind of bought into a team, and that's where political tribalism comes in.
It's even, the brushing things to the side is a subconscious thing. You don't realize because you're a part of the team.
Right. You're not sitting there saying, I don't care what Trump does.
You guys
he's
know
savior.
I'm a huge Panthers fan. You guys know I'm a huge Panthers fan. If something happens with the Panthers, I'm a part of the tribe. So in my mind, I'm going to convince myself, at least initially, that it was a good decision. Because I'm a part of the team. When we trade all of our assets for the number 1 overall pick and give away DJ Moore, I'm like, yeah! No, you know what? That was for the best.
Yeah.
But shout out to my man B Money, alright? I still believe in him. That's not a diminishment of his ability.
Yeah. So it is a very subtle thing and a thing that we have to consciously realize.
You have to pay attention to it or else it gets away from you.
Right, because not only in politics is one of the easier things to have that happen in because there's so much going on and you can't possibly keep up with everything or understand everything that's happening.
And most people truly don't. They just feel the vibes.
Right, but
that's how Trump won, based off of vibes. And rightfully so, his vibes were way better. But relatively.
It happens in everything. So even our daily life, we kind of center ourselves as the good and we associate ourselves with a good team that we align with. even if we don't align with everything, because we still think this is the better of the two evils.
And we don't even know, the thing is, the lack of information. We don't even know what this team stands for. Most Panther fans that are watching the team, that are like, ooh, Panthers suck when they lose, do you think they know how our rushing statistics are? They don't actually know why we're winning or why we're losing. They just know that we're losing. It's like that with the political system. They don't know what Trump's doing, appointing guys like Matt Gaetz for Attorney General and Linda McMahon for the, what is it, Department of Education head? I mean, a wrestling mogul. You're silly.
Well, if she's there, we can give the smackdown to the
kids. Apparently, to what they want to do, it's going to be a smackdown to the Department of Education.
Again, we still get to do the smackdown on the kids.
That's true, and the kids are in that department, so you crush them all with
Smacks.
The kids. I don't know if you know that popular meme.
Fine.
But seriously, though, it's the fact that people don't really know what they're rooting for. They don't know how many rushing yards the Panthers got.
I mean, many people didn't anticipate Trump to make such quite unhinged picks. I mean,
I knew it the whole time. If you looked at his behaviors and what he was suggesting.
My thought process is there were so many people, I won't even say duped by Trump, but kind of like bought into this idea of Trump and the idea that he's good no matter what.
It's the enigma that he is, and it's fueled, like we talked about, and hey, this is all of a journey we're going on together, like dissecting these ideas. It goes on to about that two-party system. The fact that the Democrats fumbled this so badly.
Well, because there's no good in either
party. And they're
so
not.
That leads people
Kamala wasn't saying anything at all. She was saying, we're going to go build off of Biden's ideas. Everything's good. We know everything's fine. America's fine. And then Trump's like, it's all corrupt. Burn it onto the ground. Trump will make it better. So it's like people that don't know what's going on, that aren't truly informed about like what Trump's behavioral policy was in the previous administration and what he's planning to do now, they'll just be like, yes, that dude versus that stale wall of a woman, obviously.
And that all again goes to the information that we're shown. And
because people don't know. They're not informed.
I would even say the perception of how we receive information and what we see online. I mean,
it's all funneled through corporations. And that's right. A big
we
problem
know
with
all the information we see, like Instagram, Twitter. It's all kind of like figuring out which team you're on and then just showing you the information associated with that team and not saying like, here's all the ideas, figure it out for yourself. Because also people are a little bit lazy. Don't have enough time.
Aren't we all?
And
I understand it. But it's, I just had an awakening at one point where I like started learning a lot of information, and I was like, oh wow, all this stuff is going on, and that's what kind of turned me on to like even paying attention. Now that I know it, I'm like, oh man, if you just paid attention a little bit, you would know that dude is not fighting for you.
And I mean, not even to sound like, obviously there's different socioeconomic demographics.
Of course.
Demographics and people of different gender and race, and having those different demographics makes you either more susceptible to not being able to get information that's needed, or just not having the time to, or not feeling interested, or feeling hopeless, or all the things that can happen. So it's not even to say like we think you're lazy, it's to say that there's a lot going on.
A lot of times these lazy people are the hardest working people. They're just working multiple jobs. They can't pay attention to politics. They just
and I'm not even saying lazy like I mean,
no one thinks you are. No one thinks you are.
Yeah.
But it's true. It's just sometimes it takes effort, and you need to.
It takes a lot
to learn the information, and you go based off of vibes, and that's how Trump won. And it's understandable because of the corporate system that obviously wants you to be less informed and dumber, kind of stops progressive insurgents that points out the system. Like, okay, we don't blame people that don't know. I don't. I mean, I didn't know for most of my life. That's the thing that it comes back to. It's not about the people, it's about the systems. We're all on the same team here.
Yeah, we have to go and work against the systems that essentially work to oppress us. We look at corporations and they're fighting in their own interests, so we need to fight.
And they're not bad people either. They're just in a position that they want. They have a goal, and the system incentivizes the system, exactly. Yeah. And when I say capitalism, me and my sister dissected it a couple episodes ago.
But capitalism is just mainly that it's just a system.
Exactly. It's not the problem. The problem isn't that it's capitalism. It's that you need to mold capitalism in a way that can benefit people that are working in the system.
Exactly.
Yeah. And so that's the thing. And you see it happen in other countries, and we talked about that as well. But I appreciate you joining me here, friend. We just wanted to do this quick episode. I guess it's like, what, 20 minutes?
I don't think it's a quick episode.
But I still appreciate my friend. Look how sweet she looks with her little mushroom sweater.
Oh my god.
Well, I appreciate you guys joining us. I love doing these episodes. Comment below, share it if you agree and want to share it to your friend or something. Start a conversation. That's the goal of these. All right, well, we will see you next time on John and Jenna's Secret Podcast. Cue the music.